You're watching Soulful Discussions.
All right. Hi. How are you doing today?
Good.
All right. All right. How did we meet today?
I was sitting here reading at the beach,
Absolutely. Got her book right there with her. Absolutely.
and you came up, said hello, and asked if I wanted to answer a couple questions.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, do you remember what the topics are we're going to cover? I got you 3 topics.
Feet, reflexology, and mental awareness.
Yes,
mental
absolutely.
illness, mental awareness.
Yeah, mental health,
mental
awareness,
health.
They're all great.
Okay.
Let me ask you this: you hear the word feet, what do you think about first? First thing that goes through your mind.
What do I think about feet?
When you hear the word feet, what do you think about first? First thing that goes through your mind. Be honest.
I'll be honest, because
Okay.
I have bad feet, and they've been cramping a lot lately due to my workouts. That was my first thought.
Interesting.
Was how much I've been trying to take care of them lately.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, today we're going to ask you a few questions. It'll be your thoughts about the subject of feet. Just answer however you like.
Okay.
Those questions. What about mental health? You hear that? What do you think about it?
I think that it's extremely important and underrated.
Absolutely. I think that's a really big one, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people don't talk about it.
They don't.
Absolutely. Let me ask you this. In terms of, well, first of all, what we're going to be talking about today in terms of mental health, dealing with like stress, anxiety, depression, maybe some things that you've learned, and I'll talk about some things I've learned on my journey since I started my channel. But when you think about feet and mental health, do you think they can correlate in any type
Yes.
of way? You do think they
I
can?
do think so.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I love that. What about reflexology? Does that sound familiar?
It sounds familiar, but I mean,
Okay.
you can definitely tell me more.
Absolutely. I'm going to give you some information today, and I just want you to tell me, you think that's a positive thing, you think it's a good thing, or how you feel about it, okay?
Okay.
Sound good?
Yep.
All right, let's start with the first question. What is something you think we can do to improve mental health awareness throughout the world?
Oh. What can we do? Talk about it more.
I love that. Yeah,
Just
exactly.
start talking about it.
Absolutely.
I think that everybody thinks it's a scary thing to talk about and they get nervous, but honestly, I think that everybody should talk to some kind of therapist and get the professional help, no matter what you're going through. It doesn't have to be bad, just talk about your life.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be something debilitating or something, but
No.
maybe you just have a few things that
You want to get off
ironed
your
out.
plate, yeah, that
Absolutely.
a family member or a friend wouldn't necessarily be able to help you with.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. In terms of this question, just fill in the blank on it, okay? The world would be better if...
There was more kind people.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's interesting because I interviewed a girl on last Sunday, and she had a shirt on that says, "Don't be a dick."
I love
And
it.
I was like, man, that is so lovely. I love that.
Yeah, I like that. Mhm.
Absolutely. In terms of like if a friend or a loved one was like dealing with like stress or anxiety, is there anything that you would say or do with them to like maybe help them like get through that time?
I listen.
Okay.
I just listen to them and what they have
Yeah.
to say. I don't necessarily have the professional mindset to tell them what to do, but someone who's going through something like that definitely needs an ear just to vent a little bit.
Yeah.
So as a friend, I can listen all they want and need.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of times in those situations, right, that's all we want to know is that somebody's there for us to just listen to what I have to say.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's really great. In terms of yourself, you don't have to go too in depth with this answer, but maybe it's more of a surface level answer. Is there anything that brings you anxiety? And then if so, when you feel like you're having an anxious moment or you're feeling anxious, is there anything you do like a coping mechanism or anything you do to counteract how you're feeling in the moment?
Yes. Personally, I don't know what brings it on. It just happens.
It happens. Okay.
It happens, and it's scary because I can be in a great mood. I can be at work, and I can start to feel it, and feel my heart palpitate, and then I start to just do my, breathing techniques, breathing exercises. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And just tell myself that I'm fine.
Absolutely. I'd love to share one more with you because this is something I actually learned on my journey when I was speaking to a therapist. They told me about grounding, right? So it's basically what you do is like in that moment when you start to feel anxious, you focus on the things that are around you. So like sights, things you see, things you smell, things you hear. If you start to focus on that, it starts to like kind of distract you more into like what you're going through at the moment is not like the priority. You're more focused on that.
Yeah.
So that's something that can be helpful too. Absolutely.
Yeah.
In terms of yourself, let's say somebody came to you, they gave you the power to change something about yourself, right? It doesn't have to be something physical. It could be like a behavior maybe you have. Is there anything you would change?
No. There wasn't something there wouldn't be something I would want to change. There would just be things I want to work on to improve. We can always, as humans, work to be better, always, constantly. So
I think we're always evolving, right?
We are. And evolving is a better word than changing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think I would necessarily change anything. I would just work harder to be a better person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I always tell people, like, because I was asked that question once, that's why I brought it in.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, for me, all my life experiences, I feel like if I was to change something, it would maybe change the trajectory, the people I've met. That probably wouldn't be the same. So for me, I'm actually content and happy at where I'm at. Like, could things be better or whatever? Sure. But it doesn't mean that they won't be better down the road. And so, like, everything you go through and everything you do is leading you to a certain point. So
Yeah,
that's how I feel about it. Absolutely. In terms of this next question, fill in the blank as well. All right. When I think about my feet, I feel. And I think you kind of already told us at the beginning how you feel.
I feel sore.
I feel sore. Is it because you're doing like a lot of working out?
Workout. It's from working out.
I see.
It's from working out. And so I've been cramping a lot, and so I've been trying to do some self-massage with my Theragun. And
I have some tricks for you that
Okay.
we'll go through later on. Okay? I'm going to give you some stuff that you can do.
It's funny that you're asking about it. 'Cause
Absolutely.
It's the last probably 2 weeks they've been pretty bad. It's funny.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Let me ask you this. In terms of your feet, has anybody ever paid you a compliment about your feet? Has anybody said to you, I think you have nice feet? Has that ever happened?
Yes, actually.
When you got a compliment about that from somebody, what is the feeling you would attach to it? Like, how did you feel in the moment?
I kind of wondered why they thought that.
Okay.
Like, why my feet? Like, of all your, physical body parts, like, why the feet? But also, like, I mean, if you get a compliment about anything, you'll feel good.
You would think that most people would.
Yeah.
But oftentimes I go and ask that, I get all kinds of answers. It's like, oh, I'd feel weird. I feel like this. And I always ask, well, if they gave you a compliment about your hair, your eyes, your smile, that would feel different. And they're always like, yeah. And I'm like, but they're still pointing out something that's about you.
Right.
Right? That's the
true.
key, right?
Yeah.
It's something that's about you. And I feel like, to me, as long as the context is correct, right?
Yeah.
As long as I'm not giving you
a weird creepy vibe.
Exactly. As long as I'm like, hey, I think you have nice feet, and I kept walking,
Yeah.
right? It shouldn't be looked at as a negative thing. Absolutely. In terms of compliments you receive from men and women, do you prefer to receive it from one group over the other?
Oh, probably men.
Probably men. Okay. That's actually the opposite of what I usually get.
Really?
You care to expand on that?
I mean, I'm attracted to men, so I think that I would prefer to get a compliment from someone that I'm attracted to.
Okay.
I don't know. That's a funny question.
I usually get.
But at the same time.
Okay, here we go. Here we go.
At the same time, when you ask a lot of females, they're always like constantly like checking out other girls or wanting to impress other girls, which is weird. And we get ready to compare myself, not necessarily, but to compare ourselves to other females. We put makeup on but I think differently. So
I usually get that they like to hear from other women because it's more of like an empowerment type thing.
True.
And you feel as though like a lot of times women can kind of be catty and like not like each other. So like when you hear it from somebody, it's like almost like a welcoming like delight
That's true.
or something.
That's a good point.
Absolutely. But I understand your point about like if a man is like you're interested in guys, so if a guy compliments you, it's like that feels good.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
In terms of all the compliments you receive in your life, right? I'm pretty sure you can't remember every last one of them. But was there a certain compliment that when you got it from somebody, you're like, man, that really made my day, made me feel good?
Yeah, definitely. And that's funny because the last compliment where I was extremely thankful was from a woman.
Interesting.
It was after I got out of the pool after I was doing my laps. And she told me that I am a super strong swimmer and that I look fantastic.
Lovely.
So that was made me feel like really good that I'm doing this for.
Yeah, a little feather in the cap.
A little bit. If a guy said that to me, I'd be happy to.
Yeah, I feel it, but it's the compliment in general that makes you feel good. That's great.
Yeah.
In terms of pedicures, how often you get pedicures?
I would love to get them every week.
Okay.
They're too expensive.
Yeah, they are pretty expensive, man. They can be rough. What were we saying? Like every 2-3 weeks, maybe once a month, or?
Well, I kind of do my own. I paint my own toenails, but like to go to a salon and get it done probably once every 3 or 4 months.
Okay, cool. Maybe like special occasions or something like that. Okay, that makes sense. In terms of pedicures, have you ever heard of a medical pedicure before?
No.
All right, so that's when you go see a podiatrist, it's a specialist of the foot. What they do is they take a look at your toenails to make sure your toenails are healthy and they're growing correctly. They check your toe alignment to make sure it's good. They check your feet for like dead skin, fungus. Do all the work there with like medical grade equipment. So it's like the cleanest possible pedicure you can get, right? It's like more about information about your feet. Like sometimes people deal with very dry feet. They can tell you the right types of lotion to use based on your chemical breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
What would your thoughts be on seeing something like that who could give you like more information? And
Oh, I'd
insights
love
into
to. I would love to get more information about
Absolutely.
all parts of my body.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think that's very important.
I think the feet
Your feet
are very,
hold so much.
That's what I was getting ready to
so,
say.
Yeah,
I think that's why it's such an important area because it's like it holds up everything else.
all of it. Yeah,
Absolutely. Without that, you wouldn't be able to do a lot.
No.
Absolutely. In terms of shoes, how often you wear like open toe shoes, sandals, and flip flops, things like that?
pretty much I mean,
Yeah.
I wear closed-toed shoes to work, but I would after work. Sure,
All right.
yeah. I mean,
So it
on the
kinda depends on where
weekends.
you're going and what you're doing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: in terms of a favorite brand or style of shoe that you prefer to wear, what would that be? If you could only have one shoe to wear the rest of your life, style or brand, what would it be?
A really good supportive walking shoe.
One of the things I think you should do too, because I forgot to mention this about podiatrists, you can get specialized orthotics that are built for your feet. So that might be something, I don't know,
Something to look into.
that might be helpful for you.
It might.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How often do you go barefoot without shoes?
Every day when I'm at home.
Okay.
But outside, I mean, just at the beach.
Okay.
Yeah,
You ever heard of earthing and grounding before?
I have.
Okay.
And I've actually,
You've tried it before.
and I'm
What
kind
was
of
the
wanting
experience?
to, I
more?
haven't necessarily tried it, but I
Okay.
want to kind of look
Incorporate it?
more into it. I want to research it and study it and
Yeah.
then maybe incorporate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'll give you a little breakdown of it because I actually spoke to quite a few Reiki masters, and this is why I started talking about this. But basically, it's something that you can do to like get energy back from the earth.
Right.
It's something that can be like a de-stressor for you. So basically, let's imagine that you had a long day at work. You're like, man, today was really rough. You come home. One of the things you can do is go out to your front or backyard, and what you do is you plant yourself there. You stand there.
Yeah.
And what you focus on is like what you're feeling in the moment. So you focus
Okay.
on, right now I'm feeling like the grass beneath my feet is very soft. It feels like this.
So you have to be extremely present
Yes.
with every sense.
It's by being mindful about what's
Okay.
happening in that moment. So
Right.
like I feel a cool breeze going by. I hear birds chirping. Whatever it is, you focus on that. And what it's supposed to do is almost be like a reset button. So
Okay.
like I'm starting over. Like today was really rough, but
Yeah.
here's my starting over point.
Okay.
So what would your thoughts be on maybe incorporating that, trying that?
Sure.
to help
I would
out?
I mean, is there a specific, like, is it grass and dirt? Is it?
Grass, it could be sand, it
Okay.
could be like whatever you feel like is the most comfortable. Some
Okay.
people prefer to be near the water, some people they like the grass, the feel of that. So I think
Yeah.
whatever works best for you.
I think I have done that in the past, just
Okay.
not like thinking that I'm
Not mindfully.
not like mindfully, but not doing it as if I'm gonna go do my grounding now.
I
like,
see. I see.
You know what I mean?
It was
But
just more like I'm here, so why
Yes,
not?
yeah.
Absolutely. I feel
Yeah.
that. Absolutely. So right now, in this moment right now, can we see what your feet look like?
Sure.
Okay, cool. All right, cool. If I can, let me have you just take off just your shoes for now. Okay. And then let's see what the socks. I'm gonna have you, if you can, just put your feet up here. Leave your socks on. Leave your socks on. Oh,
Okay.
and then just put your feet up here.
2 different socks.
Oh, it's all good. We're not here to judge. Nobody's here judging you. And so it looks like your feet. You got pretty long toes. Like
I do.
Right? And do your toes go from big to small, or is the second toe longer?
The second toe is
Do
longer.
you know what that's called?
No.
That's called a Greek toe alignment. It's a Grecian. So
Okay.
basically, like, there's different toe alignments. So your bigger toe is bigger. It's called an Egyptian toe alignment. This is called an Grecian toe alignment. There's a Norwegian toe alignment, a Roman.
Okay.
There's an Oriental, which is like more rounded. They're all about the same size.
Okay, you're right.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that's what you tend to have. You actually have.
So I'm Italian, and my grandma used to always tell us this, but she was probably just telling us this because she was cute. That if your second toe is longer than your big toe, that means you're smart.
Oh yeah. You know what? I've also heard that it's a bossy toe. Some people say that.
A bossy toe.
Yeah. Let me get you to extend out.
Okay.
Straight, like feet straight. All right. Cool. And then okay. Cool. Now you can take your socks off. Cool. And then let me have you put them back down flat again, like this. All right. Cool. All right. And you got the it's like a coral type.
Sure.
Orange like type color going on there. All right. Look nice. And then let me have you extend out one more time, like this. Okay. And so let me ask you this: in the moment right now, how are you feeling?
A little weird.
A little weird. Okay, I'm glad that we got to that point. Let me have you leave your feet up. We're gonna go through a couple more exercises. Okay.
Okay.
But you said a little weird. Okay, so let me give you the mental health for what started me with my channel. Okay. First of all, have you ever heard of exposure therapy before?
No.
Okay. So exposure therapy is for people who, let's say you feel uncomfortable in certain situations or scenarios, right? You might even have a phobia of something, right? What therapists would tell you to do is a lot of times you focus more on your comfort zone. You're like, I feel comfortable here, so I'm not stepping out of that because I don't know what's going to happen on the other side of that, right? And we start to like envision things in our mind like, well, this might happen, that might happen. And in reality, it's just your mind constructing things to keep you from going forward, right? So when I heard about that, I'm like, I'm a chronic overthinker. Like, I tend to overthink every situation. And I was like, I want to get better at just like making decisions. So I started testing some of that out for myself. Like, I want to go to the movies. Either go or
just
don't
do it.
go.
Yeah.
And it's like, so like I started doing that. I noticed that I started to feel a little bit more free, a little bit more like I was getting more out of life. So I had the idea in that moment, because during quarantine, a lot of women were getting into like foot modeling. That was a thing, right?
Oh.
So I had the idea that, what if I go up and I just approach women I just met, right? I just met you, we're asking all these questions, we're talking to you, right, about these different topics. I get to that point where I ask you that question, do you get uncomfortable? Do you continue to be comfortable? What is the thought process there? Why do you start to feel uncomfortable? And then we challenge that to see like, well, okay, you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, I'm being challenged right now, for sure.
Exactly. So it's like, but can you step out of that comfort zone and then does anything bad happen? Or do you feel like, it was a good experience. I went through it. I felt a little uncomfortable at first, but overall it was a good experience. So what are your thoughts about that? Because my channel is all about trying to bring positivity to like the subject of feet. What's your thoughts about that?
I like it. I think it's good for people to get out of their comfort zone and try new things, obviously. But, you know, it's a scary world out there that we live in. And a lot of women, especially not people person, kind of would just, well, first of all, tell you no immediately.
Oh, 100%.
So it's harder than easier. I would definitely.
It's tough, and I get it.
It's uncomfortable.
Yeah. I get different reactions, and that's what my channel is all about, the reactions that I get and posting those reactions. Because what I want people to see is that that's the reality out there. Some people can be open. Some people might overthink it a little bit, but later on they become open. Some people will never be open to it. They're just like completely like, nah, I'm good. That's the whole point of my channel, though.
Okay.
Cool. So let's talk about reflexology, and then we'll wrap up the interview, okay? So reflexology is all about the different pressure points you have in your hands and in your feet, right? So those pressure points actually like connect to different parts of your body. So let's say, for example, through like a massage, through acupuncture, through acupressure, you can alleviate like stress and tension to various parts of your body. So let's say, for example, you're somebody who deals with migraines, right? There's actually a portion of your hands and feet you can like massage that alleviates the tension you feel in those moments. There's also a piercing
acupuncture.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I was just saying that would be a form of reflexology.
So it's a form of it.
Therapy?
Exactly.
Treatment. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's something you can get done. Like, let's say if you are having those troubles in your feet, right? You can go to an acupuncturist, go to somebody who does acupressure, or get a massage, and they can like channel those areas that you're feeling it in.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So with that being said, first of all, what are your thoughts about that? Do you think that it's a good thing?
Yes, 100%.
Have you tried those before?
I've had plenty of massages. I need to get another one. Then I have tried acupuncture, but it was for a different injury.
Interesting. Okay. So with that being said, usually when we talk about reflexology, we talk about sensitivity. How ticklish do you tend to be? Like when you go get pedicures, have you been like super sensitive to it, or?
I flinch.
Okay. I have
but I don't like not let them do it. It's not that bad.
Okay. I have a trick though that can help you do that. Okay. You mind if we test it? I'm not using my hands. I got a tool. Is that cool?
Sure.
All right, cool. All right, so what I want you to do is, if you can put your feet back out how you had them, and then we're gonna try right to left. Tell me where you feel it at the most, and then which foot is most sensitive.
Okay.
Sound good?
Sure.
All right, cool. And so this is kind of like a pumice stone, right? Because that's what they do. I'm imagining that's when it's the most sensitive, right? All right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go right first. Try the left, and then afterwards, I want you to tell me which one is more sensitive. Okay. And then we'll try the trick, okay? And then tell me if it's less at that point. Ready?
Yeah.
All right, 1, 2, 3. All right, and so that's really sensitive. Scale of 1 to 10, what is it?
Probably like an 8.
Probably like an 8.
Sure.
Okay, try your left. Let's see if this one is worse.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, and that one's worse. You moved immediately. Is that like a 9?
Okay. I'm sure. Yeah.
Okay. So here's what They're both really sensitive. Yeah. Okay. Was it about the same?
But you know what's funny though is like it's also because it's like the initial touch.
Yeah.
So if I'm getting a pedicure and they're a few minutes into it, then I'm more comfortable.
You're more comfortable.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know if that has.
So here's what I want you to try. I want you to try wiggling your toes while I'm doing it. You tell me if you feel it more or less. So let's start here. Wiggle. And then do you feel it more or less?
Way less.
Do you know why?
Because I'm thinking about wiggling my toes.
That's part of it. So, but the other part is also this, like, because you're wiggling your toes, it moves the energy to a different spot. So, like, if you go get your pedicures when they're doing the pumice stone, wiggle your toes a little bit. It'll help you out. Let's try the left. This one's a little more sensitive. Wiggle. And more or less?
Less, but it's definitely.
It's
I don't
still
know
a little
why.
sensitive.
Yeah.
Okay,
But it
cool.
wasn't as much on the right.
But that's the trick for you. Okay, so now I have one more thing for you to try. Well, two more things, but here's the first thing we're gonna do. We're gonna do a couple exercises with your feet. I want you to tell me if you feel pain or discomfort while you're doing it. And,
Okay.
all right, so here's what I want you to do first. Bend your toes, make a fist. Tell me if you feel pain or discomfort. Is that easy to do? Is that hard to do?
It's easy.
Okay. Spread your toes. Tell me if you feel pain or discomfort. Easy? Okay, so it's a little bit harder to do that one.
I guess.
Okay. Lastly, wiggle your toes for about 10 seconds. Tell me if you feel pain, discomfort, cramping, anything happen after a while.
No.
Pretty easy.
Yeah.
Okay. So one of the things you can do, because I noticed that when you spread, they didn't really spread, right? But you probably don't focus on doing that a lot so it doesn't happen, all right?
No.
Here's a trick for you, though. So I'm going to have you try this out because you mentioned earlier that your feet have been hurting, all right?
They've been cramping.
Cramping. So I
Yeah.
have two things for you to try. First is
Uh-huh.
tennis ball. So what I want you to do is just roll your foot across that. Tell me what you're feeling while you're doing that.
I mean,
And
I
just
can.
try to go back and forth. You want to
Yeah.
try to get the full motion if you can.
It's.
How does it feel?
It feels fine. It doesn't.
Okay.
It doesn't hurt.
Let's try this one.
Nope. Same thing.
Same thing. Now,
Yeah.
here's what I want you to do. We're going to up the ante.
Okay.
I want you to try a golf ball.
Okay.
And I want you to tell me what you feel with that one. So usually with the golf ball, it gets in a little bit deeper.
Uh-huh.
Let me see if I can get to it first for you. Hold on one second. You mind holding that for me for 1 second? So I can look through my bag. See if I can find it in here. It was in here first. I think it fell like all the way down at the bottom. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Here we go. All right, cool. So try this out. Tell me if you feel that one more or less. This one should be a little bit more deeper into like the muscle groups and
Definitely
stuff
more.
like that. Now, have you ever thought about trying something like that in your morning routines, like when you wake up?
I don't have much time, and
Is it
but
like
I have a Theragun that I use on my feet, and I do it at night.
okay?
So that's kind of part of my routine.
Okay, this can be really helpful because a lot of times we have like muscle groups and stuff that are attached to our feet. Like, I don't know if you've ever heard of like the ankle tissues and stuff that you have down here. Basically, I'm trying to remember what the name of it is. I forgot what the name of it is, but there's like a soft band of tissue that like attaches from your ankle all the way down to your foot. And a lot of times if that gets injured, those are some of the things you can do to like kind of help out with that. Absolutely. Cool. Let's wrap up the interview now. You can put
Okay.
your socks and stuff on too.
Okay.
All right, cool. In terms of my approach, I came up to you. I was like, hey, am I doing an interview for my YouTube channel? How did you feel my approach was? Was it good?
It was good.
bad?
It was friendly, happy. Yeah.
Nice.
You asked if I was busy.
Yeah. Because I saw you were kind
Because
of
if
like chilling in that book.
I was into my book.
Yeah.
But it's not every day you get to get interviewed at the beach. If you wouldn't have asked and just started talking, then I would have been pissed.
Absolutely.
So that was
I'm glad my mom taught me to have manners.
Yes.
Absolutely. In terms of the interview, right? Let's say from start to finish, could you see how everything was going on in the line? Did it make sense? Did you learn anything new from the information?
I did. It did go. The mental health kind of didn't really go. I mean, it goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
But it was a little bit different than everything else that we talked about.
I see. Absolutely. In terms of something that you can say to my channel, I always ask this at the end. Something that maybe you learn in life, maybe it's wise words that you have. It could even be like just something simple that maybe you go by every day. Something you can say to the channel that could be helpful.
Slow down.
Ah.
Slow your life down. At least for myself.
Yes.
Slow down and be more present and give yourself time.
I think that for me that's a big one because sometimes we think everything is fast motion, right? You're at work, everything has to get done.
You have to give yourself time.
I mean, you were here giving yourself time.
And that's what I'm
book
working
and
on.
everything. That's great. And you even gave me some time.
I did.
So I appreciate that. Thank
My
you so
pleasure.
much.
You're welcome.
We appreciate you stopping to this interview for the
Yeah,
channel.
of course.
And we hope you have a great one. Okay?
You too.
All right.